business 35 years, never in a row. Okay. I've had great
Yeah.
success, absolute failure. I had to start completely over. I lost my business, my home. I had 6 little kids at the time, my wife, and I still have 6 kids. They're just not little anymore. The reason why I wrote my book, Michael, is because I started seeing patterns with most businesses. They're all doing the same thing. And I'm going to be blunt and say doing the wrong things. I did the wrong things for 20 years. Okay, so no one's immune to it at your business. Now, recognition, they want to know, are we doing a good job? Do you let me know? Do you let everyone else know? Do you correct me when I'm wrong and don't just fire me?
Right.
Do you help me become better? That's recognition, right? And then the quality pay. Now, notice I said quality pay. Well, I made $50 a day doing kind of the same work. I did one side job for a guy, worked 10 hours in a day. He paid me $1,000.
Oh, wow.
So I looked at that $1,000 and I went, I did this yesterday for $50. I think I know my future and getting things done, because the imperfect action is the key to success.
Hey, family, this is the ThriveWell Journey. Look, life's too short to just get by, and 2025 is the year to persist. We're here to grow, build, and thrive. This podcast is all about powerful stories, real talk, and practical steps to help you level up in every area of your life. Now, if that sounds like something you need, don't just watch, be a part of the journey. Let us know you're here. Do us a favor. If you're listening on the podcast platform, download the episode. And if you're watching on YouTube, you know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you never miss an episode. And as we always say, let's make thriving our new norm.
Yeah. Beat up, bullied, and dunked on. Beat up, bullied, and dunked on. Let's get it.
Yo, today on the ThriveWell Journey, we have the pleasure of having a conversation with Richard Walsh, who is a 30-year entrepreneur, best-selling author of the book Escape the Owner Prison, and CEO of Sharpen the Spear Coaching. He is a Marine veteran, champion boxer, and proud dad of 6. He's passionate about helping business owners create lasting success while loving life. And I'm really just glad to have that type of energy here today on the podcast. And Richard, how are you doing today?
I'm awesome, Michael, and it's great to be here, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you on. My producer, Yvonne, and I, we go through people who we believe that have great stories to tell, great actionable advice to give. And I know that you're one of those individuals. And so I'm glad to have you here. Richard, what's on your mind today, like right now as we enter into this conversation?
Well, I work with business owners, right? I love entrepreneurs. I work with them. And I think what I've seen, I've been in 30 plus years in the business space, right? As an entrepreneur, and I've been coaching for 7-8 years now, business owners. And the reason why I wrote my book, Michael, is because I started seeing patterns with most businesses. They're all doing the same thing. And I'm going to be blunt and say doing the wrong things. I did the wrong things for 20 years. Okay. So no one's immune to it.
Right.
Okay. But so my mission became, hey, I want to really help business owners. I want to help. So I pick a number. Let's help 10,000 business owners create freedom, profit, and impact in their business. That'd be great. Love to do that. So what I want to do is help people escape the owner prison. And what the owner prison is that you start a business, right? You got to work really hard the first couple of years. No way of getting around that. You're going to wear a lot of hats, do a lot of this stuff, figure things out, get some scars, as I like to say. You get punched in the face here and there, right? But you're going to keep going. The problem, Michael, is next thing you know, 10 years has gone by and you've repeated the first 2 5 times. And that's where they're stuck. They're making a little more money, but they don't have the freedom. They're not making the impact. They're really not making real money, right? Because real money is what makes a difference. A little bit more is just a raise.
Right.
Okay.
That makes all the sense in the world right there.
Right. So we want profit to create real freedom, because we all get in business to have freedom. We want to control our time. We want to go to every one of our kids' games, recitals, and anything else they might be doing. Right. We want to spend that quality time with our spouse. Right. We want to take time off and not call in, make sure the place didn't burn down, because I was gone for 3 days, that kind of thing. So that became my big mission. So I love talking about that and the ways to do that. Like you mentioned in the intro with actionable steps. I'm all about taking action.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I can talk a lot, but when I talk, it's about things to do and getting things done. Because the imperfect action is the key to success.
Yeah.
You don't have to be perfect, but you got to move.
I think that's the key, especially across the conversations that that I've been having, and even before the podcast, it's taking those imperfect steps that move you forward. Like I would even put myself in that situation where I would have to wait till A, B, C, D, and E were in line for me to actually take action on F, G, and H. I would have to wait for that, but it never lined up that way.
Right. Yeah.
So like I have to take imperfect action to make my life happen especially in the entrepreneurial world.
Yeah. It's that analysis paralysis, right?
Yeah.
You're getting ready to get ready. You're trying to make everything perfect. You want all your ducks in a row. They're never in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Never.
I've been in business 35 years, never in a row. Okay. I've had great success, absolute failure, lost everything in 08, 09, had to start completely over, lost my business, my home. I had 6 little kids at the time, my wife, and I still have 6 kids. They're just not little anymore.
Right.
But it's all this stuff that you're going to constantly adapt, pivot, and make an attempt to control, to get you where you want to go. So once you're able to embrace imperfect action, that's when you begin to make headway. That's when the business moves. Because if you think about it, riding a bicycle or even walking. It's impossible to go straight in a straight line. You're always adapting and moving on a bicycle, walking. So what makes you think your business is going to go in a straight line?
It
right?
doesn't.
It's not. Right. Exactly. So we want to understand that. And once you understand, you get it. You plotted a course, so I'm going from A to B, but in between there, I'm going to veer a little to the left. I'm going to come back center. I'm going to go a little bit to the right. I'm going to come back center, but you're going to keep coming back to center. And once you understand that, that's when you make those adaptations as you go, so they become a lot sooner. So you correct quicker, right? And you stay on track.
Can you speak to that mindset though? Let's just talk about a startup entrepreneur, having that mindset. They think that everything has to go perfectly right before the next thing happens. Can you speak to the mindset of it's not going to go that way, when they're in that space?
Yeah. I call it, you want to have ignorance on fire. That's what you want. Okay.
Ignorance on fire. Okay.
Ignorance on fire. I mean, you're just doing it because believe me, you're not, that you're able to continue adjusting and moving forward. Like I said, that first 2 years is going to be a lot of confusion, a lot of bumps and bruises, taking stuff through like that. But you have to understand that beginning progress, taking those first steps, it's inertia, right? Body in motion stays in motion. You're going to keep moving towards the target. And that's what really makes the difference. So when you're new and you're in that startup page, whether you got this napkin and you got this great idea you thought of one night, now what? Well, take action, right? You're never going to know the whole plan, right? So there's additional things we can talk about you can do to kind of help solidify where exactly you're going. But it's that launching part that people get wrong. They hesitate way too long before getting going.
We're going to do this in editing. You went out.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that, dude.
I don't know what happened either, but it came back in mid conversation, and it was. I don't know if you want to repeat it again.
Oh, I totally can. Yeah, because I know with Riverside, I have Riverside as well, it keeps going because it records, but this completely dropped me off. I had to sign back in, so that was weird.
It might do it on your side. So this part will just.
Yeah.
You want to do it again, or you want to just?
Let's do it again. I'm a professional. I can do it twice. So let's just get back to. So ask me about the startup thing, and we'll take it right from there.
So in the space where entrepreneurs, they want things to go perfectly straight, right? But it doesn't necessarily go that way. And in that space, can you speak to that mindset?
Yeah. So let's take this from the startup. Okay. You got a napkin idea. You wrote it out. You got this great idea. Now you're doing a little research. You start to put things together. And then you're going to keep, I got to get this. So I need this much money. I have to have the right amount of money. You want to be fully capitalized before you start. Never happens. Okay. So a lot of these things that in their head, they think they're supposed to do. Because remember, no one really teaches how to start a business. There's no courses on that, really.
Right. Really.
At least from a formal education standpoint. So you need to move. Yeah, there should be. Absolutely. You need to start making the move. Understand that you're never going to be fully capitalized. You're never going to have all the right ideas. You're never going to have the perfect path. Okay. But beginning and moving is how you get there. You're going to climb a mountain. It's the first few steps. There may be a trail, there may not, but you're going to have to navigate this stuff. So you're always going to be navigating and pinpointing exactly where you need to go. And that's that movement. Like I talk about ignorance on fire, right? Ignorance on fire is just, I don't know everything, but I'm going. I'm anyway. Excited to get there, and I'm going to get there, and I'm going to figure out as I go. My first business was literally a wheelbarrow and a shovel, and I'm shoveling rock, and I made I made $50 a day doing kind of the same work. I did one side job for a guy, worked 10 hours in a day. He paid me $1,000.
Oh, wow.
So I looked at $1,000 and I went, I did this yesterday for $50. I think I know my future. Okay. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I can shovel. Okay. I got to shovel rock every day. I will make $1,000 a day, every day, shoveling rock.
Yeah.
So that's how it began, right? I didn't have a plan, right? Now, if you can have somewhat of a plan, of course, that's better. But there's also times when you see an opportunity. I jumped on the opportunity, and that opportunity changed my entire life.
Yeah. I think that sometimes, I guess the saying is preparation next to opportunity that creates your luck, right?
Right.
You were a Marine veteran. You are a Marine veteran. You're a champion boxer, black belt. You're a black belt. What does that mindset also help you in your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, I think it does, Michael, because it's not something you think of at the time. Now I have the luxury of 35 years in business, okay, doing different stuff. But I look back and I do a lot of podcasting, obviously, and I talk about it, and it sure does. You look back now and go, wow, because it's a mindset, whether I had it pre the Marine Corps, which I did, I was a pretty hard, I have a lot of, I guess they call it grit, right? A lot of perseverance. I go through a lot to get what I want. I will endure a lot of pain. I will endure suffering to achieve what I want to achieve. So, and the Marine Corps is it's all that. Okay.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Every day. My son is in the Marine Corps now. He's been in for a year, right? He's going through all the same stuff. Even he's doing way better than I did. He's doing some great stuff, but it is. And then the next, and then boxing every day, there's 4 steps to get up to the ring, right? So there's 4 steps you climb up, you climb through the ropes, and you spar. Well, I sparred 6 days a week because I was going to be a champion. I'm going to be great. I want to do this a lot. Those are the longest 4 steps of your life. Every day. It never got easy. It's like, here I go. Time to take a beating. I got to go and take a beating. Okay. Throw down for 5 or 6 rounds, right? Do it. Then get out and train and wake up in the morning and run and do all this stuff. But then there comes the championship. Then you start to win, right? Because you put in the time. And now, hey, I got plates and wires. I got a new nose. I got all kinds of neat things for my time in the ring, right? But it taught me that everything you have to do, the perseverance, the grit, the time in the game is going to pay out at the end. You don't always know when the end is. Right. But now we've been to enough ends with multiple businesses. I've seen different things in helping other people that I understand the value of it. Right. So sometimes when you're young or you're just starting out in that business, it's hard to have the value in you, understand why am I going to do this? Or when you're in it and it's 18 months in and you still haven't made any real money and you're that's when you have to push through.
Right.
You have to understand the value that's going to be. And I'll tell you, Michael, it's like this interview we're doing. I hope it helps people because they need to go to people who have been there and done it.
Yeah.
So they can hear it and go, listen, and you're going to hear the same story if you talk to anyone who's been in business more than 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. You're going to get that because no one's immune to it. That's what I think social media and all this other stuff has really been kind of a detriment to the entrepreneur because everyone's painting their pretty picture. It's only the highlight reel. It's never the suffering, the pain, the no money, the barely making payroll, getting a loan to keep going and stuff like that. So people don't really see that stuff. And I just like to share the reality of it.
Well, that is the reality of it. And one of the episodes that it was a solo episode, and I mentioned that I talked about comparison. And when you watch other people and they're flossing or they're at a great level in their life, you don't see all the stuff behind what they went through. And with all social media stuff, all you are looking at is the highlights, the highlight reels, or what's curated for people to see. So it's not always going to be a highlight reel. That's what That's exactly what it is. It's a highlight reel. Those are the great moments that you're putting on display. And when you're in the entrepreneurial journey, it's not like that.
Right.
Can you speak to the time when you're 35 years in, you had businesses, and up to I think you said 2008, 2009, you were dealing with I guess a crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So, first 20 years in business. So I spent about 20 years building a custom water feature business. I added steel sculpture to it. I became an internationally recognized steel sculptor. I was one of the best water feature builders in the country. Awards and on committees and accolades and print magazine. I've been in everything, right? So going really, really well. 08, 09 comes and everything financially begins to collapse, right? And constrict.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was definitely the luxury item. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
People didn't have to have a water feature in their backyard, right? They didn't have to have a sculpture. So let me just tell you, they didn't get them. Okay.
The first thing to go, right?
Right. November 5th, 2008, I lost $500,000 on that day. Okay. And that was the beginning of the slope. All right. And the cliff. Let's forget the slope. It was a cliff, just straight drop down. So things are going, now we're inching into 09. And I'm like, yeah, this is not going to happen. I didn't know what was going to happen, Michael. I knew that we probably weren't going to make it. I just didn't know when. But I didn't see us even get through the year. And I'll tell you, like I said, I had 6 small children, 4 years and younger at the time, right? My wife. And I see all this stuff going, and I'm like trying to work harder and do more things to save the business. How am I going to keep this thing going? It's all about that. So my whole 20 years, and I've been married 9 years at the time, 8, 9 years, right? But the majority of my building was when I was single. I could do whatever I wanted to do. I built it. I spent all my time. Everything was my business. So my whole focus, Michael, was businesses first, right?
That's me right now.
That my identity was in my business.
Right.
Without my business, I was nobody.
Right.
I built it. Now I'm in magazines. I'm in all that. And I'm like, I'm nobody if this doesn't make it. What am I going to do?
What are you going to do?
I was super blessed to have this epiphany one morning. I woke up and I'm thinking about my kids, and I'm thinking how I come home or what time it is, and they all run to me and crawl to me, and they love to be with me, and we get to hang out. And then one day in the morning, my 4-year-old's like running behind my truck in the driveway crying because I'm leaving. And I'm looking at that in the rearview mirror, and of course I kept going because I got a business to run, And then I started thinking though on that, I'm like, what am I doing? And I started thinking like, if I stay on this path where business is first, it's everything, right? It's got to be number one. It's got to come first. I got to support. I got to blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm going to actually destroy my children's futures. They're going to have broken marriages, failed relationships, right? They might be good at business, but that's all they're going to have. They'll have no quality friendships because everything will be dedicated to that. Their identity will become that, like me. That'll be their mission, right? So God literally gave me this window to see into the future. And I got out of bed. I went into the office and told my office manager, we're shutting down today. I went to my yard to my guys who've been with me over 10 years, the same crews. And I said, guys, we're finished. We're wrapping it up this week. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to do this. Because remember, more is caught than taught with kids. I can tell my kids, I like
that.
I'm telling, and it's the truth. Like and I know now because I have 6 kids who are all upper teens and 20s and whatever, and I've seen other ones, but they do what they see, not what you tell them. Like you can tell them all the right stuff and some of that will sink in. But if you're not congruent with the way you walk, if you're not walking that talk, the default's going to be what you did, not what you said.
Yeah. Agreed.
And that was the big epiphany. I'm like, they got to see a different person. I have to change. So I shut everything down. Like we lost our home anyways, had to relocate, moved to a different state, started over. I didn't even know what I was going to do. Right. All I knew is I was going to do what I did because it became who I was. So I have even a video where I'm burning all my uniforms, my shirt, brand new, sort of throwing them on the fire. Like I will never be owned by my business again.
I like that.
And I'll give one caveat. Like, so I owned like everything I had, equipment, trucks and trailers and machines, and I sold everything, right? At the worst time you could possibly sell it, probably got 20 cents on the dollar because I wasn't going to be tempted to do what I did. Now, I could have probably kept some of that stuff, done some side hustle, made some money and everything else, but I don't operate that way. I'm an all or nothing guy.
Okay. I hear
So
that.
that's just me. I don't recommend people do what I did. Okay. It was very stressful. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, well, what am I going to do? I have to do something different. I can't do that. So I'm like, well, I love training people. I love fitness, right? I'm a certified personal trainer since like early 90s. I'm a boxer, black belt, did all this stuff. So I started training. I go, well, I'll go to Anytime Fitness. I became a personal trainer.
Okay.
Well, I'm a little high voltage, right? Like, so they really didn't have a program. I built this whole thing. And a year later, I'm trainer of the year.
Nice.
Okay. And so I'm like, well, you know what that means to an entrepreneur? We'll go open a gym.
Of course,
So I opened my own gym, right? So I'm gonna do boot camp style training. This is gonna be awesome, and I did, and it was really great. So I moved into that. Then I got back into the construction world, doing roofing, siding, windows. I scaled that business, did that, and that's when people started asking me, "How'd you go from all that in the beginning, losing everything, back to this?" And that's when I put together my book, because I started working with guys and started seeing the patterns, and that's why I wrote the book. Yeah,
and that's. How did you see the dots that you speak about? Like, this is like, you come from, you move, you lose everything, you move, and you're all in, right? And things start to connect for you. How does one see the connection when you're in it?
Well, what I had to do, and this is kind of the painful part, you have to look back and define all your mistakes. What did I do wrong? Yeah. Define them. Like, what did I do? Why couldn't I weather that storm? It's not like every business in the world went under.
Right.
People did really well during that time.
People did well. Yeah.
Right. Everyone does. Great Depression, more millionaires were made in that time than ever in history. Right. But everyone was, it was a Great Depression. This was a similar thing. So I really had to take a hard look and say, okay, all right, you were great at what you did.
Mm-hmm.
You were number one. You were out front, look good on a magazine. All that stuff was all great. But what didn't you do? Oh, the business part. Okay. You didn't pay attention to your taxes. You didn't pay attention to what's actually going on. You didn't manage your money well. You made a ton of money, you knucklehead. And all you did was buy equipment and stuff for cash, like an idiot. Okay? Like, I mean, if you know what I'm saying, Michael, if I just had what I lost, I'd be good to go. Yeah. Okay. So you really had to take those hard looks. Like, I can't do that again. Add on to the time.
You learned.
Oh yeah. And just like no time for my kids. How do I build a business now that doesn't own me? How does it serve me and me not serve it?
Yeah.
So that was it. And it's hard to do that because that first 20 years, Michael, was driven by ego and pride.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't take help from anyone. And I had billionaire clients offering me mentorship and help. Yeah, what do you know? You don't build water features. You just own professional sports teams and manufacturing plants. What do you know about business? That's the level of stupid I operated at.
Yeah, and so that's a good lesson to learn.
Dude, and so I put the ego in a box. I got rid of the pride. I'm starting over, and I'm going to be open. I'm going to listen to people. How do I scale? Who's done this already? That became my new thing. Yeah. Who's already done this? I am not the first gym in the world. Okay. So I started getting the right mentors, the right coaches who are going to help me with this stuff. Construction, same thing. Who's done what I want to do? Let's follow those people. So that sounds super obvious, Michael.
Yeah.
But the reality is, like, for 20 years now, when I started, there was no internet. You didn't have coaches everywhere. And it was a little different game, but it didn't matter. I was serving a high-end clientele. High-end clientele, they're very successful people. People you might want to hang around and get advice. Okay. And actually apply it. Right. So that I did do because I was so full of, I'm getting all the credit. I'm going to do it by myself. Twice as hard, twice as long, but I did it.
There's that ego. Yeah.
Yeah. Really tough. So that was my biggest takeaway to improving myself. And that's the first thing I start with owners when I deal with owners, when I'm coaching them. It's like, we got to check that. Like, where you at on that?
Yeah. I think that's first of all, it's a great lesson, right? To, like, if you're allowing your ego to drive you, I mean, you're missing everything else.
Yeah.
You're missing life. You're missing, out on so much. And sometimes you can look at people and that that's what's driving them.
Right.
As opposed to, whatever valiant reason why they're doing what they're doing. And you said that you didn't want your business to allow you to, I guess, be a prison for you.
Right.
How does one not do that for themselves?
So I think the strategy I've come up with it's called exit strategy. Okay. So if you're beginning the business, okay, this is the best time to do your exit strategies before you launch your business. That's the number one time to do it. The second best time would be right now. Okay. So there's only two times. Okay. Two times. And here's, I'll give you the high level view here. So exit strategy basically is two things: when and how much. When do you want to exit and how much do you want? What do you want to take with you? Right. So it's real simple. Okay. 10 years. Pick 10 years, and I'm making up, just throwing out a number, $10 million. Okay, so I want to exit for a $10 million sale, and I want to do that in 10 years. Okay, whatever your business, doesn't matter what the business is. So now from that point, I have to go, okay, well, what would that, now I have to reverse from the end back to today. If that's before you launch, great. If it's you're 5 years in, 10 years, whatever it is, where am I at today? What do I need to do to accomplish that? So what that does, it creates a complete roadmap for you from how you start, when you hire in your first person, second, third, fourth, fifth, what kind of market share do you have? What direction are you going? Right? What are the metrics every quarter, every year, 5 years? How am I going to get there? I have 10 years. Okay. Now I want $10 million to exit. So what does a business look like that someone would pay me $10 million for? Right? What are they looking for? I have to learn that.
Yeah.
Right. So now I understand that. Now, let's say I'm going to get that 10 million, which probably means I'm making probably $1 million a year in a salary. So I have active business income that's paying me $1 million a year. But if I sell in 10 years and I get 10 million, what do I lose? $1 million a year. So now I don't have that $1 million a year anymore because I gave it to the new guy. Right. He's going to come in together, or she, whoever. So now I'm like, okay, well, I have to replace that too. So if we're back, we got 10 years, I got to start acquiring assets. I have to use that active business income and get assets that are going to create income for me. I have to replace $1 million. So that's $83,000 a month.
Yeah. Okay.
So, maybe it's real estate. Maybe it's, I don't care what it is, Bitcoin. I don't care what it is, but like start doing that. So when I get that $10 million check, I leave, but I also got $1 million a year coming in passively. So even if I don't work again, I got $1 million a year, right? I don't have to use my 10 million to get by on the million. You know what I mean? So that money's gone. So what that does, Michael, it becomes an incredible business filter, because as you become successful, your business really starts taking off, you're going to get a lot of opportunity put in front of you. You're going to see it. People are going to, hey, you should do this, right? I got this great thing and invest in this. So all you say is, I love it. That's a great idea. Let me run that through my exit strategy. And I'm going to get back to you. Now, does it get me closer and faster to my exit strategy, or does it detract from it? Right. If it detracts from it, it's a hard no. Right. Just done. If it gets me closer, I'm in. Let's make this happen, because that's my goal. Right. So
that's clear. It's very clear.
Yeah. So it's important.
Yeah, it is important. So everything as you were saying, for me, it was like start with the end in mind. And you were working yourself backwards. Does not anything and everything will match up with what the end is calling for. So how does one recognize those things?
So what you want to do, and this is what, especially early in the entrepreneurial stage or journey, if you will, what they don't do, they don't take time from a strategic standpoint. So they don't take time to say, okay, well, strategy is knowing your next move. What's 5 moves out, right? So you understand the chess. It's chess, not checkers, to put it in the simplest terms, right? You're thinking about moves down the road. So, but you're so busy being in the business, you never get to sit back, look at it and go, oh, wow, if I do this, this, and this, I'm going to end up over here when I need to be over there. So what do I have to do? What are my next 3 or 4 moves to get me on track closer to the exit, right? But they don't take the time to spend that time where they can say, okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, that'll be or they're not going to the right people to get the right strategy, right? So people start to say, well, how do I get this advice? Well, again, we get coaches, we get mentors, right? To help us stay on course and understand the future moves. Because people will give me great ideas. They'll call me up, we'll be on a coaching call. Hey, we'll do this. I said, okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's workshop that real quick on the phone. So if you do that, do you think this might happen and that? Oh, yeah, no, I didn't think about that. Well, that's probably what's going to happen. And then this, and then you're going to be 6 months setback. Okay. So,
Smart.
yeah. So that's how you know. You have to be able to take that time. You have to plan that time, that strategic time, whether it's to go spend a day and you're just relaxing and dreaming and thinking, like, where are we really going with this? What have we done so far? What are the results? Again, tracking your metrics. You have to measure everything.
You got to measure, yeah.
Because you can't improve what you don't measure, right? So we got to understand, like, okay, how effective are we? Oh, I got a sales team and they're closing at about 28% on average. Well, good. That is the average. That's like 27% is like the national average. So you're average.
Yeah.
Success doesn't come by being average.
No.
Okay.
It doesn't.
So you might want to address your sales, right? Well, we should be at 38 and 39 and 42 and things like that, right? So we have to look at those things, right? That's strategy. How do we change the game? We're not dying. We're not, we're making money. We're getting by, if you will, but how do we succeed? How do we surpass our competitors? How are we different? What do we bring into the marketplace that makes us the obvious and only choice? What are we doing? Things like that's the things you got to think of, but you need time to do that, right? That's not in the day-to-day. You don't think about it in your day-to-day operations.
What's up, TheThrivewell Journey listeners and watchers? Look, if you're someone with big dreams of entrepreneurship, but need a flexible way to earn income while building your business, let me tell you about the Orions Group. Through our partnership with Arise Virtual Solutions, you can become a customer support professional, aka CSP, and start earning from home on your own terms. Arise offers a streamlined certification process, getting you trained and ready to work with well-known brands all across America. You can set your own hours, choose the clients you want to work with, and create a work-life balance that fits your entrepreneurial goals. The best part, you don't have to choose between your side gig and your business dreams. Being a CSP with the Orions Group means you can bring in extra income while have the flexibility to focus on growing your own venture, much like I did. Whether you're looking to supplement your income or need a bridge while building your empire, this is the opportunity for you. You interested? If so, head over to www.theorionsgroup.com to learn more about becoming a CSP with the Orions Group. Look here. Support your entrepreneurial journey while supporting the Thrivewell Journey podcast at the same time. All right, one more time, www.theorionsgroup.com. All right, we're done with the spot. Let's get back to the podcast. Right. That's one of the conversations that I've had before is like, that's working on your business and not necessarily always in it.
Right.
And it definitely helps with the mindset of, having the end in mind. All that's great information. It's really great information. And how do you stay motivated? You personally, how do you stay motivated through all your tough times and getting things figured out?
I'm pretty optimistic, like probably a little over the top on the optimism. A lot of times it'll drive my wife crazy, because I'm just never like unhappy, I'm kind of like, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's all going to be good. It's just, I've never been depressed. So I'm lucky that way.
That's
but even losing everything, like I'm just, people are like, this is unusual. I go, well, it's just, I got to do the next thing. I don't have time to be depressed. I got a family support. I got things to do. I got to make things happen. There's no time to wallow. You got to keep going again. That could be a Marine Corps mindset. Part of my upbringing and stuff too, figuring that out. But I think really when you look at it, like, how do we continue to motivate myself every day? Well, I have to set big goals. So I want to help 10,000 business owners create profit, freedom, and impact in their business. Well, 10,000 is a lot. That's a lot of people I have to work with.
A lot of people.
And I don't want to do it in 10 or 20 years. I want to do it in like 5 years. So what do I have to do? I have to reach people. I have to talk to them. I have to make a difference in their business, so, and I actually want to help more people than 10,000 is just the business owners.
Yeah.
Now, remember, I go to a business, they have employees, 5, 20, 50, right? And what do all those employees have? They have families, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my goal is if the owner in the business can create additional profit, they will then get that freedom and now they can make the impact. And the impact is the people in their business. Yeah, we want everyone competent. We want to make them better workers, better skilled so they can, do a better job. But we also want to make them better people.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this is part of that congruency. When I talked about my kids and more is caught
Mm-hmm.
than taught, same thing in the workplace. It always starts at the top. Okay, if I can make them better as people, where do they go with that? They go home to their families.
Right.
If that improves their families, where are their families? They're in the communities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, instead of 10,000 people, I just help millions, right? Because we changed their life. We showed them how to run a business where everyone is actually benefits, right? Everyone's working for a purpose. And we can talk about that, strategic vision and everything else. But when everyone on the team is working towards purpose, they come to work because they're achieving something real.
Right.
They're not just putting A into B. They're not framing a house. They're not doing there's real purpose why we do. They understand the full vision of the business, and that carries with them to home and their children. Now they start thinking that way, right? Because there's three things, Michael, that people want to work for. Okay. Number one is purpose. The second thing is quality feedback or recognition, right? And then quality pay. And that's the order it goes in. Notice pay is third. People aren't driven by money. They think they are. And you'll think, hey, he makes more money here. Well, if money was the number one thing, they would sell you out for 50 cents more an hour and move down the road. Right? But that's not what it is. Purpose.
Yeah.
They want to know what they do matters. How are they making the difference? What they do every day. They spend a huge amount of their life at your work, right? At your business. Now, recognition, they want to know, are we doing a good job?
Right.
Do you let me know? Do you let everyone else know? Do you correct me when I'm wrong and don't just fire me?
Right.
Do you help me become better? That's recognition, right?
Totally
Quality
agree.
feedback. Yeah. And then the quality pay. Now, notice I said quality pay.
Right.
Okay. So we want to take care of our people, but they're going to earn it. My goal, Michael, with people who work for me, I want everybody to be an asset, which means they're free. Okay. Which means they're producing more than they're being paid for. They're bringing more value to what specifically they do than I'm compensating them for.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Yeah.
And if we can all build that attitude, like that's what I teach my kids. Okay. You deliver more. You're always there early. And I tell people this all the time, Michael. I go, you can do two things. Okay. There's only two things you got to do to succeed. Okay. Especially as an employee. And that is show up. Well, I'll call it early, which, on time is late. So show up early and ask, what else can I do? Those are the two things you have to do. Because if you do it in today's workspace, you'll be a CEO in like 2 years.
Right.
Okay. Because
I agree.
nobody does it. Everyone all about me and what do you owe me and what am I, I'm doing this for you and you owe me. It's like show up early and ask what else can I do?
I know that you talk about, the helping the 10,000 people in their businesses and affecting the leaders who affect their employees, who affect their families. What impact do you hope that the communities have through what you're doing? Yeah.
So and communities is the right word to use here, Michael, because I think as a business owner, you have incredible influence in your circle, in a community circle, right? Whether you're doing 50 million a year or 500,000, it doesn't matter, right? So impact is like, well, what are you doing with that business with a portion of the profits? I have clients that give 5% of all their profits to one or two organizations that they choose. Maybe it's a foster care placement agency. Maybe it's a battered women's shelter. They choose something and may even get with everyone on the team like, hey, what should we do? What is everyone into? I have one client there in the dog rescues. A huge portion of his profits goes for dog rescues. He's into rescuing dogs. Okay, that's his thing. That's awesome, right? That's the beauty. You get to choose. Yeah. Right now, you'll see companies like Target. Now, hey, we give $50 million a year to charities. Yeah, what charities are those? I'm not saying they don't do it. I'm just saying, like, okay, it's like 50 million. Can you wrap your head around that? You know,
I understand even the smaller businesses affecting their communities is just as big as and wonderful as Target spending 15 million.
That's right.
Whoever they're.
That's right. It's in you have you actually, as a smaller business, you have greater influence than Target does, way more.
You think so?
Okay. Oh, absolutely. Because you might be supporting the Little League team. I don't know. You might be helping that shelter, in your community, getting guys off the street, helping them turn around, things like that. Right. We have a thing called Gifts Men's Shelter, local that we do. And they got 50 guys in there.
Yeah.
They got them working. They're feeding them. Okay. They're getting off addiction and things like that. They're doing that kind of stuff. That's money well spent.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. We help other organizations who are helping people already. You give to those, right? So and I'll give you an example. One of our charities, it's called Beloit Cares. We're in Beloit, Wisconsin. I didn't create it, but our church created a 501c3. But we go to all these organizations that are doing work in the community, right? Like say a woman's shelter. Okay. Well, we ask them, what do they need? Everyone will say money, but what they need? Shampoo.
Yeah.
You got 50 people, and that's a lot of shampoo over a year, right? So, okay, you need shampoo and conditioner. We get a 4x4 pallet, big box. Tell them at church they need shampoo. That thing is filled up in a week.
Yeah.
Now that frees up real working cash. They don't have to spend it on shampoo. A baby one, we need diaper, we need this. Whatever they need, we supply it.
Yeah.
So people can donate. They go buy a bottle of shampoo and donate it.
Right.
Instead of just giving money.
Right.
Nothing wrong with giving money. But when you're going to specific needs, my son, for his Eagle Scout project, did a thing for that men's shelter, paper products. He had people donate. He has a mountain of it. A picture of just paper towels and Kleenex and toilet paper. And that takes a lot of money.
Yeah.
You got 50 guys.
Yeah.
And it shelter like for a year, and he had all this stuff donated. That's thousands and thousands of dollars freed up to do other work. So it's things like that. That's what I mean. Like that's impact.
Or that's true impact.
You go there and work as an owner. I did. I go work. I work the night. I make food for them. They do that kind of stuff. It's little things like that where you have a much greater impact. Again, you're walking the walk.
You're right.
Right.
I think it's important for people to really realize that and look at that even though you may be a small business, what kind of impact you can have in your community. It doesn't have to be 15 million. It could be going to the store and buying whatever is needed in that organization or in that community. I think that's a powerful scope to look at things through. Because it doesn't have to be 15 million.
Yeah, it's again, here's another thing that we all know. We know how hard running a business is, right? We understand it's difficult. A lot of people fail in the first 5 years. When you've done something that most people can't or won't do. You're in a position of authority. You're in a position of respect because you've done that. So your hands-on approach, maybe it's mentoring students. Maybe they get the company. We have a thing here called, the guy started here called Craftsmen with Character, right? Now the Navy's picked it up and they're pushing it all over the country.
Oh, nice.
His program. They work like 10 years, but kids sign up for it and they go to a business, like every Friday, and they spend like 2-3 hours there and they learn every aspect of that business. So each week for a semester, they're going back to this business for 2 hours and they take them through sales and they take them through production and whatever they do, right? So they really get to understand how a business works and what you need and then they spend time talking to them about the character aspects and everything else, building them up that this is a great thing to be, right? That's amazing. But as a business, you can do that for students. So, hey, come see, we have a construction company, a big construction company here in this town that does that. You get to intern. Hey, you want to be a mason? Okay, go try it. Oh, now I don't want to be a mason. Okay, because they go find out. Right. Yeah, but they did it, right? But they know now they're not going to waste years doing something they don't want to do. So there's all this great stuff you can do to help make that impact. Because again, you're in an incredible position of influence because you're, and I'm air quoting, successful, right? Don't attach a dollar to it. Forget that. It's a position. You've achieved something that most can't or won't, right? Use that, bring others up, do some mentoring, okay? And just come alongside a couple young people or even early entrepreneurs. Help them climb that ladder. I do it for a living now. My coaching business is helping businesses. But before that, why I started was because I started helping all these other businesses just giving them the free advice, and that seemed to be working. That's when I noticed the patterns, and now I get to coach them so we can accelerate that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. But what a difference it makes, because the more businesses that can succeed, that's what it's about, Michael. They're not competition to me. We need small business to succeed in this country, especially. It's truly the backbone, but there's profit, freedom, and impact. Okay. If you can maximize those things, if you can do the business right, you can affect change. You can have that incredible influence, right? And you can show other people it can be done. That's the key. If everyone's saying 97% fail all the time, who's going to try it?
Right. I have that note here: freedom, profit, and impact. Which you already you covered it. So,
well, it's important. I think it's a big thing. One of the big things I do, Michael, is show business owners there's hidden, uncovered profit in all their businesses. They just don't know how to access it. I mean, I literally can show them, I can show you 100,000 of profit in your business in less than 3 minutes without additional ad spend or marketing spend. And they're like, okay.
That's,
so, we
powerful,
do that. But
powerful, man.
they don't know, right? They just don't know, and the bigger the business, the more profit I can find them. But even the small ones, it doesn't matter. There's stuff there because they, and again, remember we began with ignorance on fire. Okay. Well, that's how you start, but ignorance has to become education. You have to start learning what business is. The stuff I didn't do my first 20 years. I was too busy being the guy, making cool stuff, getting pats on the back, not thinking about the business. Right. So learn that. So now as you get that, that's where you start to realize real profit. Because we can all work hard and make money. There's no challenge in that.
Right.
Okay. We can all work hard to make money, but it's a couple of things: how much you keep, and how much can you truly make? How much can you leverage to have your business make the money, not you make the money? Right. There's all these stuff in there. Yeah.
Leverage is a powerful word. With all that being said, is that what inspired you to write Escape the Owner Prison?
What inspired me, Michael, was my journey, because I weave my whole journey, that first 20 plus years and beyond, and where it is today, to inspire others. Go, look, you can do. Success is a lot of different things, and sometimes it's really deceptive. Success can be incredibly deceptive. I mean, I'm making money. I'm getting whatever I want for the work I do, because no one can do what I do. So I'm successful, except I lost everything, in like a day. So I wasn't successful, right? So it's very deceptive. It's you got to be careful what you're using as a scorecard. Okay. If I'm just gross revenue, hey, I made $5 million. I made $1 million. That's not a good scorecard. It's a terrible scorecard. And we'll go back to when we talked about ego. Gross revenue feeds the ego. Profit feeds the family. Okay. It's about it's about profit. It's about accelerating your profit. How can I accelerate that? It doesn't matter if I made $10 million in gross revenue, but I only took home 100,000. That's not a good trade-off. That thing is broken. You got yourself a broken business model. Okay. So right. We want to fix that. So we need to understand what the real scorecard is, and that's what I mean by it can be deceptive.
I like that. In all of this, what inspires you to stay on the journey that you're on?
Sometimes you realize you kind of become what you talk about. Like you find like there's guys, and I do sports. I don't talk about sports. I don't watch sports. Okay. I'm that doer guy, but there's guys who they can tell you every guy, every jersey number, every whatever.
Yeah, I'm not that guy.
I'm not that guy either. Okay. So we're in good company, but that's what they talk about all the time. Okay. You'll never hear them talk about business. You'll never hear them talk about money. Never achievement on there. They're living other people's achievement constantly, and they're in it, and they're telling the coach how to coach. Those are my favorite ones, right? Like, yeah, because they know, wow, what else? A stupid move. Okay, genius. Okay, and we get that, so I'll leave it there because people get offended. But right, so I realize, you know what I talk about? Business. You know what I love when people are starting a business? I get in there, what are you doing? Oh, have you thought about this? What about that? And that became that lifted me up. I mean, I could do it all day. All day. talk to people, help people. I got guys talking to me on the way out of church. Dude, I'm doing that mobile detail, man. What do you think about this? Oh, dude, you got to do this. We're talking all the way out to their car.
Yeah.
And I send them off. Go do that. So it's like, I love it. Yeah, I love
to
it.
To their benefit.
Yeah,
They got your advice.
But that's how I know that is whatever. If something drains you, like it wears you out, it makes you tired, you hate things, don't do that. It's simple. If it lifts you up, it energizes you. Okay. Do that.
Yeah.
How can you get to do that more? That's the goal. Mm-hmm. That's what you figure out. I learned coaching was like, I'm a trainer. I love to train people, whether it's fitness. I love teaching people, right? And showing them a quick, easy way to do things. I get them up to speed very quickly. I have a lot of I train a lot of champions. My son, hey, you want to go to Junior Olympics? Okay, I'll train you. We'll go to the Junior, and we got to Junior Olympics, right? You want to go in the Marine Corps? Great. We do 3 a days for 7 months straight because you want to go in there. And he did it, succeeded. All of a sudden, we get things done. I love to train it. So if that stuff energizes me, that's what I do.
Is that how your coaching? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No.
Is that how your coaching business differs from other coaching businesses?
Yeah, I think it is, because what I do, Michael, is really focus on profit centers in the business. And there's like 40 or more in a business that people don't realize. I'll start them with a simple 12. And what I want them to do is realize profit. Let's focus on that. Let's do some simple things, little tiny incremental changes. That's compounding, right? Like compounding interest. It's what's his name? I always forget his name, but he declared it the 8th wonder of the world. Einstein. Einstein called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. Okay. So
teach me something.
Right. So we take that into this. How do we change 3% here, 4% there, 2% here in these different areas? And it all compounds into massive numbers. Mm-hmm. Right. It isn't, hey, I need a 50% increase in my marketing. No, you don't. Let's change 3% in that. And then let's go over here and make 3%. Let's cut some costs by 3%. Let's increase our prices by 3-4%. Little tiny things, and watch what all of a sudden there's $100,000. Mm-hmm. There's $200,000, So go in and do that, but it's actionable things.
Actionable things. Yeah.
That's what it's about. Little bites that you can achieve, and not this massive thing. You got to, the bigger the ship, the harder it is to turn, right? Mm-hmm. The longer it takes to make that turn. So most small businesses are 5 to 50 employees. Mm-hmm. They're doing whatever, 500,000 to, 5 million, 10 million, whatever. Those areas, those guys are agile. So we take these little moves like this and we implement these things. We can do amazing things. Even if you're a landscaper. Mm-hmm. I love landscapers, house landscaper. I love them. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I love the home services business, right? You're a plumber, you're an HVAC guy, you're a carpet cleaner, you're a landscaper, bookkeeper. These people we can do amazing things with. These people matter. What they do matters, but they leave so much money hidden in their business they don't get to access, and we show them how. So that's the fun.
Well, for both,
that's
you
right.
enjoy doing it, and then the person receiving that advice gets to grow their capital. So that's pretty great.
I love, and I learned this about myself. I get so much joy from other people's success. Like there's no envy. When people succeed and I help them a little bit with that, that's the reward. It's not the money. It's really like, look what they did. When I free them from the owner prison, mm-hmm. and one of my clients' wives calls me and says, listen, I never thought this was possible. We just spent 2 weeks at the beach with all 5 of our kids. He was never on the phone. Unbelievable. Never in 8 years. I never thought we were going to get to have this life. And now they get that life.
Well, they get it.
So he's not checking in all the time. He's not worried about this, talking to clients the whole time. It's like, that's the reward. That's what I'm doing.
That freedom feels good.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice that you wish you would have had earlier in your career?
2 words. Get help.
Yeah. I kind of thought that because you had mentioned during that first 20 years that you didn't seek help at all.
Just understand you don't know anything. Again, that's the ego thing. Because if you go in dumb, you only have one way to go. Yeah. You're only going to get smart. Okay. You're only going to be open to more help to get smart faster and sooner. It's called
Yeah.
time compression, right? So like
Okay.
when I work with someone, if they come to me for help, I get to compress 10 years of costly mistakes, bad decisions,
Right.
wrong
Right.
moves, right? I can put all that into a year. And now where are you in your business? So why keep getting beat up for 5 or 10 years and never get to where you want to go?
Right.
That's what getting help is all about.
That's one of the things I love about being a host on a podcast. Like I get to have conversations with people like yourself. And if there's a ton of things that I don't know, I ask from that space,
Yeah.
you know, and then I get the little tidbits. And, you know, it's like, oh, I was doing this all wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe I should, switch. So getting help is paramount, especially when you're a beginning entrepreneur.
Yeah. And let me add the second part of that. Okay. It's only 3 words. So we got get help or ask for help in 2 words. You want to do hard things. Okay. So what you want to do, whether it's business and personal, is continuously do hard things. Now, I don't mean, I got to go run a marathon and then, okay, it could be physical. It doesn't matter. Like the physical, I can do hard things, but I do that all the time. So it's who I am anyways. So it doesn't count. It doesn't count anymore as a hard thing. I have to do like stuff on the computer. I have to work. Those are hard things for me. Okay. So, I have to, so it seems odd, but yeah, I got no problem. I can hit the bag all day long. I like it. Okay. It feels good. I like it. But, doing some of the business stuff, and things like that, it's like, that's more hard for me. But doing hard things is always going to keep you sharp. It's always going to be looking for the next thing. And it's internal achievement. Okay. That's what develops your grit. That's what develops your ability to stay in the fight. Remember, if you're breathing, you're in the fight. If you can take a breath, you're in the fight. You need to take that attitude in the business, and doing hard things shores you. It strengthens you to continue the journey and get to where you want to go. Because the more things you learn you can do that you thought maybe you couldn't. Also, with a little side note on that too, is read books on people who have done really hard things, been through unbelievably difficult circumstances, and have come out the other end.
Yeah.
Because when you're whining about your internet or whatever it is, you think about the guy who's trapped on ice for 2 years in the Antarctic, bringing 28 guys home alive. Like your life isn't that bad.
It's not that bad.
So you can do it. You can get through it. I'm sure.
Right. Couple more questions. Because you have done this, and there may be some entrepreneurs that are listening, or even people that are trying to rebuild their career. What are the most critical? Let me say it like this: what are the most critical actions that someone can take in the let's say first 90 to 60 days to rebuild their business, or for somebody who's trying to get into a new career? What are the critical for the first 60 to 90 days?
I think the main thing you just said is 60, 90 days. Okay. When we do 30, 60, 90-day goals, whatever they are, that's the time frame you want to operate in as long as you can, right? You can have a 5-year plan. You can have the 10-year exit. I get it. But the dailies, the smaller steps are all done in small increments like that. So if you set a 30-day goal, you can achieve it, right? You can measure it. You can hit it head on. Hit a hard and fast. You got 30 days to get it done. So it kind of increases pressure on yourself, but enables you to get real traction and make advancement. 30, 60, 90. So that's one thing I would do for sure. Whatever those goals might be, okay, break them down into the smaller steps. Okay. Yeah. So if I got 30 days, well, what do I need to do week 1, day 1, week 1? What does it look like? We call it a WIN strategy, WIN. What's important now? So you're on the third story, you're in your bedroom, the building's on fire. Okay. What's important now? Well, I guess I should get out of bed first. Okay. What's important now? I should have somebody now head to the door. What's important now? Check the door for heat. What's important now? And I go there. Every step of the way, what is important right now that I have to do before I get to the next thing? Understand that to get all the way down those stairs and outside the building, be safe. Whatever that looks like, right? It's always about what's important now. So when you think that way, that's why those short-term goals work so well, because you can plan that. You can plan those steps, take the action, and you succeed continuously, right? Success breeds more success. That's the inertia. You start winning, winners tend to win, right? They also tend to lose, but they come back the next day and play again.
Yeah.
Okay, so we get it, but once you get in that winning mode, okay, because you discovered how to win, and that's in small incremental steps, like that compounding with the percentages, right? Winning's the same thing. Don't go for the home run. Get the base hit.
Get the base.
And just keep around the field you go.
Yeah.
Right. Again and again and again. And pretty soon, you're unbeatable.
Yeah. I like that. I have to listen to what you said, because sometimes it's like when we're doing this job, it's like I gotta come up with the next question.
Yeah.
I try not to do that. I try to be in the moment and listen. And that was I'm still listening.
Good.
That was pretty great, and powerful at the same time. What today we're gonna wrap it up, but what is the last thing that you would like for an entrepreneur to know? What's like the story, last words that you would like to give to impact somebody's life?
I learned a quote. I read a quote. I read a book a long time ago, probably 30 years ago. It was called The Outdoor Athlete by a writer named Steve Ilg. Really cool, right? So outdoor athlete doing climbing, whatever, right? Working outside basically. And he had this thing in there, which he didn't credit anyone. So I figured he said it, and I memorized it, and I still remember it. I still use it. I put it on my gym walls and this, and I'm going to share that with you, because this is what it's really all about.
Okay.
And here it is. Dedication to a goal that never wavers. Resolution. This is the basic principle in the life of every truly great character. He who resolves upon any great and good end has, by that very resolution, clothed himself in power and has scaled the chief barrier to it. That I've never forgotten it. I can just quote it. I can say it in my sleep, because it just says everything.
Yeah.
You got to stay in it.
Got to stay in it.
Dedicated to a goal, man. You got to stay in it, man. And look at great people. Read the book called Grit by Angela Duckworth. Grit. Yep. And she's a researcher, phenomenal. So, I mean, you can teach yourself grit. It's not a gift. It's taught, right? You can learn it. And when you check out her research on all the people who've done great things, it's not because they're the smartest. It's not because they do their thing really well. It's because of grit. They don't quit, right? That's who achieves. So no one is excluded from success. Nobody.
It's because of grit. Don't you dare quit.
Yeah, I like it. Here it is.
I like that. Richard, it's been a pleasure to have you on here. Throughout the whole conversation, I've just been soaking in and listening to what you have to say. And what I love doing this is that, after this, I get to go back and listen over and over again and learn from the minds of people of your stature. And I appreciate your time and you being here. And how does this audience get in contact with you or learn from you or do your program or get your book or listen to your podcast?
Right. So they can go to sharpenthespearcoaching.com. That's my website. You get everything you need there. That simulator I talked about, you want to find that 100,000 in profit in less than 3 minutes, you can do that on my website with your own business. You can plug in a couple little numbers and poof, you got the whole thing. It's really awesome. Reach out to me. Let's do this, because this was a really great conversation. Let's give your listeners a gift. Okay. They go to sharpenthespearcoaching.com. Just go to the contact page. Send me a 1-sentence email. Say, Richard, I saw you on Michael's podcast. I'd love to get a copy of Escape the Owner Prison, the audio version, for free. And I'll send it to them. I'll send them the audio version. They'll have the whole Escape the Owner Prison. And I say that because I want them to listen to it. I want them to hear it, because you're going to see some basic foundational stuff in there. Weave my story in there. It's really going to give you a path to begin if you're just starting.
Nice.
If you're in business now, you're going to go, oh, I gave it to a guy I was talking to as a roofing company like a week ago. We're walking out. We had a Bible study. We're leaving. We're talking about it. And he's talking about his thing. I go, oh, here. And I reached in my bag and I gave him Escape the Owner Prison. And he looked at it, Mike. He read it. He goes, that's where I'm at.
Mm.
And I'm like, well, let's talk, so it's a great thing, but I'd love to send it to people. It won't cost them a thing, just a name and email. Just send me the email and I'll get it to them right away. And because this has been a lot of fun. It's been an
This has
absolute
been a lot
blast.
of fun, man.
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough. And I appreciate you doing that for this audience. And to this audience, always check out the conversations that we have, especially with Richard. All the information will be in the description of this, this whole setup here. And as we always say around this time, let's make thriving our new normal. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate you.